What up, everyone? How's it going? My name is Nekky Jamal. Welcome to another show, and I'm so honored to be with Dr. Iryna Balanets. I hope I said that properly. She's a dentist in Ontario, and she has some. She's from the Ukraine, and she has lots of family in the Ukraine. And I would love to hear her story, and allow her to provide some context on what's going on with these horrible events going on in the Ukraine right now. And it's absolutely devastating. And I can't wait to learn more from Dr. Balanets or Iryna. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Nekky. That's great pleasure. So, and really want to be for the different circumstances here, but this is the real life, and uh, this is it.
Yeah, I can't pretend to even understand what you and your family are going through, but I'm hoping you can look past my ignorance and look past all of us asking you questions, and we can get to hear some stories about what's going on. But before we get into that, I want to learn about you. Can you tell me your history, where you're from, how you got into dentistry, and just share with everyone who you are.
So, my name's Dr. Iryna. I grew up in Ukraine. I was born there. I lived there for pretty much all my life, and just recently I immigrated to Canada. Um, I had no choice other than being a dentist because I grew up in a family of uh, two dentists. My mom and dad and my grandma are dentists, and my parents are still practicing in Ukraine. And you can tell that I grew up in a dental office because it's true.
Yeah.
Um, and then I got married, and I moved to Canada, and I had to study dentistry again.
Oh man, so you're a third generation dentist.
Yes,
And so you were a dentist in the Ukraine, like you went to school for
correct.
dentistry in the Ukraine, and then you decided to come to Canada. And then where did you go to school in Canada?
So I went to school first as a dental assistant at Fanshawe College, and then I graduated from Western Dental School in London, Ontario, just this June.
Oh wow! So you're a brand new Canadian dentist. So man, you're kind of a badass because now you have two dental degrees. I've always wanted to ask though, what is the difference between dentistry in Ukraine and dentistry in Canada? Like, do you guys learn different things? Is it different techniques? Like, what have you noticed?
So like studying in Ukraine was a bit different. Um, I would say that we focused more on the treatment rather than the business perspective.
Yeah.
And um, I can't say which side I liked more, but in Canada, it was more like a second chance for me. So I definitely took my time more and tried to learn more because I already had some background from back home. So that was like totally new experience for me, even though I studied it for 5 years and practiced for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a
Interesting.
great.
So in the Ukraine, do you get into dental school straight out of high school?
That's correct. And
Oh,
that's
really?
pretty much a big difference because you don't really know where you're standing at. And you're very eager to start and learn and do stuff. And you
Yeah.
don't have the fear to do something um, that can be pretty scary. Like you don't know what can be uh, like the result of that, all
Yeah.
of the complications.
All the complications, eh? No,
Mhm.
I can only imagine. Do your parents, when they talk to you about, now that you're practicing dentistry, do they call you? Do you guys talk about treatment differently, or do you guys talk shop?
So my parents are still pretty old school, and all of the new things that I try to implement, they don't really accept that. It's hard to change things when you've been practicing for more than like 20, 25 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, do they like, ever question you about like what type of treatment you want to do? Like, you want to take more cosmetic courses or endo or oral surgery? Like, do you guys ever talk about those type of things?
So I like because both of parents are practicing, they kind of divided. And like in dentistry, my dad he used to do um, pretty much all of the like surgical stuff. My
Yeah.
dad used to teach at school, and he was like a surgical resident there.
Okay.
And then he thought like, nope, I'm gonna go and be a general dentist. And my mom, I don't think that she ever extracted the tooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they divided. My mom see most of the kids, and both of them do endodontic treatment. It's a family business. They try to work it out as a team and work out for them.
I have a lot of admiration for dentists that work together and are married because that's
Oh yeah.
that must be very tough, right? Irina, tell me, what's it like to grow up in Ukraine?
So growing up, like it was normal for me. I was going to school, I was having friends, and we were traveling abroad. Our closest neighborhood country was Poland, and I used to sing when I was a kid. So like I would go to Poland for the folk festivals, and I would sing there. And I don't
Yeah,
know, like nothing of ordinary.
yeah. Would it be similar to like a as a Ukrainian teenager, similar to a Canadian teenager that you see now? Like,
It's hard to compare because I don't really know much about Canadian teenagers. I don't have kids myself,
yeah,
and I have my husband's cousins who are growing up, but I don't see much difference.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
just
Uh,
trying to live their lives and enjoy the childhood. And I feel like nowadays I can tell that there is a difference because there is a war in Ukraine, and a lot of kids will lose that opportunity to
yeah.
go to school, to meet with their friends, and have like good, sweet memories that I had when I was growing up.
Yeah, that must be incredibly difficult to see what's going on in your home. Do you have lots of family there in Ukraine right now?
So all of my family members are there, including my parents, my sister, my grandma.
Wow.
My husband's family is there. My husband's team is there because he has a business there. And all of my friends are there. All of my classmates from school, from university. Um, Pretty much big chunk of my life is there
Yeah,
still.
I don't I totally hear that. What part of the Ukraine is your family in?
So my family is in Ivano-Frankivsk. It's closer to the Poland border. I would say it's approximately 3 hours, 2.5 from the border.
Oh, okay. And your husband's family, where are they in the same area?
So they live in the same city. Yeah.
They're in the same city. Wow. So I have so many questions because as a Canadian, I watch the news and that's the only way we hear information. But honestly, the way that I've been learning more about what's going on is through your Instagram stories. And I really, I look at them every day and I click on the links and it's a great educational source. So if anyone wants to see Irina's Instagram, it's at Balanets on Instagram, and I she posts very informational stuff on her stories. I found them very interesting, but I just have questions like, what is the mindset of people in the Ukraine right now? Like when you talk to your family, what are they saying? I can only imagine. Like it's very scary right now, but like what kind of stories are they sharing?
So we're always try to look on the bright side, and like we truly believe in our Ukrainian armed forces. It's all in their hands, and it's all in people's hands right now. Um, some part of Ukraine right now are very dark and scary.
Yeah.
Where my parents are located, it like their towns are serving as a shelter for people who are leaving their homes, and we're trying to stay optimistic. We're trying to
Yeah.
stay optimistic. My parents are still working. They're seeing a lot of emergencies, people who are moving from the hotspots. So there's some of those people have toothaches as well because that didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. I guess I never thought of it that way. Like,
Yeah.
you think who's going to the dentist right now, but you're totally right.
Mhm.
How are people like I've read stories. People are getting on trains, people are driving, but the roads are congested. Not everyone has cars. How are people escaping the hot zones, as you call it? How are people getting around and leaving the area?
So, in the very, very hot zones, the government tried to organize what called the green corridor. So they try to manage with Russians, like some time when people can like grab whatever they need, the essentials, sit in the car and run. So those green corridors were not very effective because Russian military always try to break the deal, and they shoot in people just because they wanted to shoot, and those were not very successful. Some people tried to escape just by themselves, and some of them managed and some of them didn't. I have friends who moved like to a Poland border, to Czech Republic, to Germany, just like with their kids. And they're now staying there and trying to be helpful by volunteering and collecting some humanitarian aid.
Wow. That I can't even imagine that. Like now that you're in Canada, you see, I guess, how sheltered our lives are here, and what's going on in your home must be so incredibly tough. Um, I want to take a step back though. I've read kind of bits and pieces here and there. Can you explain to me, from your perspective, why is this happening? I just don't understand. Like why is this happening?
So, like Russia is a bully, and Putin is
Yeah,
bully, and we've been through that. If you look at Ukrainian history, and I'm not trying to give a history
of
lesson,
course. Yeah. Yeah.
but it every 100 years something like that happens. And Ukraine never tried to occupy Russian countries.
Right.
Ukraine was always independent country with their own proud people, and Russia was always the bully who wanted to take a bite of Ukrainian land, who wanted to pretty much kill everybody and occupy the territory. I think a lot of it came from the breakage of Soviet Union, that
Right.
a lot of Russians stayed in Ukraine and tried to live their lives, and by that there was a big like break in culture and in language, and that was just a flame that like was going and going and going, and there was never peace, and there can never be peace in between Russia and Ukraine. There can
Huh.
only be one word: victory, and we will
Really?
reach.
So it just doesn't make going as a Canadian, we just read about this in textbooks, and we see it on the news. It hits home through our friends. And
Mhm.
I'm really sorry that this is going through that. But like you just said there, Russia and Ukraine, back in the day, they were all part of the Soviet Union. There's a lot of family. Like a lot of Ukrainians have family in Russia and vice versa. Yeah.
Yep.
How how is this happening though? Because wouldn't the Russian people not want to hurt their family? Is there, like, I know that there has to be different stories being told on both sides, right?
You would think so, that they don't want to kill anybody, but
Yeah,
the reality is different. And everybody is guilting Putin
yeah,
that he did that, but everybody who's associating themselves as Russians, who are paying taxes to Russia, are
yeah.
pretty much providing those bullets to Russian soldiers.
Huh. Wow. It's just unfathomable. I was listening to a podcast. I get a lot of my information from podcasts, and I found it very interesting because even in Canada, we're only told what the media tells us, and we almost have to accept that as fact, whether it's true or not. A lot of it is political, and the media sways on which channel you're even watching, and that's what I'm kind of seeing in what from everything I'm reading is happening in Russia right now. Like the Russian people are told that we need to overthrow the Ukrainian Nazis, and it just doesn't make sense because the leader of like Zelensky, the Ukrainian prime minister, who's an absolute badass,
Mhm.
is Jewish, and I'm like, why? How are you calling these people Nazis? But that's what I'm reading. Is that what you're seeing as well?
Yes, but I think they're a bit lost in understanding what is Nazis
Yeah.
and what is the patriotism. And Ukrainians are not Nazis; they're
No.
patriots of their country,
Yeah.
and they try to stand up to the bullies. And if you want to find Nazis, I think nowadays
Yeah.
it's
It's
the
not.
real Nazi is Putin,
Yeah.
who
No.
brought war and who brought fire and weapons and who invaded the country at 4 a.m. in the morning, 5 a.m. in the morning,
Yeah.
as Hitler.
That's just so sad. Are there any stories that you've heard from your family that you can share with us?
So I have a couple of friends who joined the territorial defense in Kiev. So those are my classmates from university. So they changed their drills to guns, and
So
they went
they
to
were
protect.
dentists
Yep,
and they joined the military.
yep.
Wow.
So I like a lot of famous people, famous singers, dancers, comedians, boxers,
Yeah.
switch their like regular gear to weapons, and they're gonna fight for their freedom.
Really. How does that make you feel? Like, does
It makes
that?
I feel very proud of being Ukrainian. I was always proud of my heritage. I never hid it from anybody. And if like, oh, where is that accent coming from? Are you Russian? And I'm like, no, that's a very different story. Um, but now I'm very proud of my country. And if every we're bearing us pretty much and thinking that Ukraine's gonna give up on the second day, it's now day 21.
Yeah. And they're not
And
giving up.
we're fighting. Yep.
Yeah. I think um, that has been what has been connecting the world right now is seeing Ukraine fight and seeing the strength of people really come out, and the pride of people saying, this is my land, this is my home. Yeah, this is not your home, you go back to yours. And seeing the resolve of the Ukrainian people has been nothing short of absolutely inspirational. Like, are more people, like you said, like dentists and just non military people, are you hearing more and more like joining forces to just fight?
Yes. And like, I honestly sometimes I feel so bad just by staying here safe and sound in Canada, and I catch myself like, okay, what can I do best? And I can go to work and make money and donate them. Versus other people, if they have no other choices and they think that they can fight, they believe in themselves, they pick up a weapon or the government provide them with the weapon and they go. A lot of my husband's neighbors joined the territorial defense, and right now they're accepting a lot of people who fight or fought before or had some experience with weapons, and they will turn you down if they think that you're not going to be as efficient, or if you're scared, then they
Yeah.
can guide you to which role um, and like which benefit you can do for Ukraine. If you can drive, you can sit on a truck and bring some boxes from Poland border that like with some food or with
Yeah.
gear. If you cook, you can cook for those soldiers or for people who are sitting in the basements and they don't have like hot meal in a couple of days. If you're a medic, you can join the um, like any hospital and be like become a volunteer. You can teach people how to um, um, deal with trauma because there are so many casualties right now.
Wow. That's absolutely incredible how that everyone is coming together to just help. I that it just you know it makes you proud as I'm not a Ukrainian, but I feel so proud for everyone wanting to come together to make it happen. Um, like what else is going on? Like, is there enough food and water to go around? Has that been an issue yet?
So there have been a lot of help and depend on the region. Like Russian troops, they're stopping Ukrainian convoys from bringing food to Mariupol, which is like in a really bad place right now. They're under constant fire, and some people don't have just basic water, and a lot of kids are dying from dehydration in the basements. And it's a 21st century, and this is still
Yeah,
happening.
I that's just incredible. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that. The uh, I have so many questions, and I just find it tough to get them all out there. If I just like, can you explain to me um, why isn't the world helping? Because as a Canadian, I know me personally I can give money. That's the best way I can help. But why isn't the world jumping in? Like why is everyone sitting on their hands and watching this go down? Like people other countries have helped other countries resolve conflict or send peacekeepers for different situations in Africa. Why isn't this happening in the Ukraine?
We received a lot of help.
Yeah.
Some help that can be spoken about, and some that I'm pretty sure that is just a cover up because nobody needs to know about that. A lot of people are helping just by sheltering people from Ukraine. Like Poland show they've been just amazing hosts for a lot of Ukrainians, and it's like very easy to communicate with them because Ukrainian people don't have that language barrier with them. Versus in Germany, like it's a little bit tougher. Um, uh, we've been receiving lots of gears and weapons, but I don't think that rest of the world want to be messed with Russians because they are afraid. They're afraid that it's going to be if they put their mans there, it's going to be a World War III.
Yeah.
And I think it's already started, but it's just going on the territory of Ukraine.
Huh.
Um, I don't like sometimes I think I'm like, oh my goodness, Ukrainian is fighting so hard. If we just had a little bit of help, like
Yeah.
we can just get it over with and start our new life and rebuild Ukraine. But there's the nuclear power and button that Putin is threatening the whole world. And I guess I'm not a politician, and I would really like more help. We were asking the world to shelter our sky, so we don't get as many bombs from the sky.
Yeah.
Um, and this is happening. It happened to my home country 3 times already. That it's been bombed, and there's, I guess, their hands just tied,
Yeah.
and it's very hard to look at that and kind of have a clear mind why they're not doing that.
Yeah.
But I don't
It's just
think
so sad to me. Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. That and frustrating because the world wants to help and, doing aid and sanctions. I find it interesting because COVID made everyone on Facebook a doctor. And now everyone has become an international relations expert from Facebook. And we're all trying to think, why is this happening, right? Have your relatives, considered leaving? Are they trying to leave? Are they going to leave?
So my parents have Canadian visa.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
my mother-in-law said that she will never give her house to Russians. So while it's been relatively safe,
Yeah.
of course, I would love them to come to Canada, but they're in their place right now and where they can help and be useful. Um, so for now, they're staying. But I'm hoping maybe like when the situation kind of calm down, they can come and visit and kind of relax a little bit, because right now they are living under a lots of pressure. It's very hard mentally on them because of sleep deprivation. Can you imagine that? Like there's sirens signaling every night, and sometimes it's 6 hours. Like the signal goes on, so they need to seek shelter immediately, and they cannot go back because the sirens are still yelling, and that means that there is a air danger and something may happen.
Wow. I I never. I guess you're right. I've read about that, but it never really clicked home, like the whole sleep deprivation thing. Wow. Have any of your relatives accepted people that were, leaving hotspots? Have they come to their houses?
So yes, my cousin, she and her family of four left Zhytomyr, which is close to Kiev, and their town was heavily bombed. And because of their 1 year old, they decided to um, move away from that spot. I still have family living in Zhytomyr, and it is very scary. A lot of families in my husband's village accepting, let's call it refugees, or like people who
Yeah.
were moving. So I don't know if there's any family who don't have some sort of family member or friend coming from different regions of Ukraine.
Wow. Wow. That must be so tough, but I'm sure everyone is accepting anyone who wants to come into their houses and stay with them as they're transitioning on, because I think I read over 2 million people have been displaced.
Yep. That
Yeah.
just abroad.
Pardon me?
That those who moved abroad, that those who crossed the borders, but so many people moved from different regions as well. So
Yeah.
that number, it's still very hard to see, because not everybody is registering as a like refugee, because they have family and friends who can provide them with the aid, right?
Wow. So here's the main question. Irina, I'm in Canada. What can I do to help?
There's different ways. If you can and willing to donate even $1, that's a great help. because Ukrainian, they're a very proud men and they can fight, but they're not rich. And right now, it's very hard for everybody to have a steady job, for so many reasons. If you cannot donate or not willing to donate, you can spread the word. And look for the right information. You can ask in Ukrainian churches if they're accepting any clothes or any food donations. You can just, if you have any Russian friends, spread the word as well, because they may not know what's happening, even here in Canada.
So do you think that even though they're seeing, less of a biased view in Canada, that they're still getting misinformation?
Yes, I'm pretty sure about that.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. It's mind boggling to think that that's even happening. Okay. So, I know when I've wanted to donate in the past, I'm always unsure if my money's getting to where it needs to go. Do you have any trusted, sources that you'd recommend?
So the Ukrainian army have created the official link where you can make your donation, and I would advise to do that. There are other options, like you can go to Airbnb and rent an
Tell me
apartment.
about that. I was reading that. Tell me about that. Yeah. How's that working?
Uh, uh, at first, when we saw that, we were a bit skeptical about the
Yeah.
whole idea. But like Ukraine is like it was, and I hope it will be a country where a lot of tourists were coming in, because we have ski resorts, and a lot of people were hosting their houses there. And I find that it's a great help for those who cannot do their business right now, but at least they can get that support financially.
Yeah, so that's been quite popular from what I was reading.
Mhm.
People put their houses on Airbnb, of course, without the expectation anyone is going to stay there, and then they get that benefit, and then the local people are donating that or giving that money within the community. Yeah,
Yeah.
what a very smart idea. I really
Mhm.
like that. Yeah. What are you going to say?
And as well as on Etsy, you can find the Ukrainian artists that you can like download the digital image that they draw, and a lot of the Ukrainian artists are making donations from the art that they made.
Wow. That's such a 2022 thing to do, a way to donate. Hey, that's very interesting. I like that. But what I'll do is I'll post the link to the Ukrainian army site that you gave me. There was another link there and that you sent that I'm going to put out, and it's different ways that we can help. Exactly like you were saying, we can go to a Ukrainian church, see what else they need. But there was also an interesting part in thinking about the Ukrainians that will be coming to Canada. Have you heard anything like within your community, like that people are coming?
I've been on in touch with the Canadian embassy, and it's we'll see how it's gonna go. I don't have much hopes about that, but we'll see. Right now, I don't believe that they're gonna waive the visas for Ukrainians or make it easier for them to come here. Um, but I believe that would be a great help.
Yeah, I absolutely. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I know that a lot of Ukrainians helped build Canada, just in the beginnings. And when I was studying for my citizenship test, I actually found out a lot of um, like new information for myself. Like I didn't know like even 1% about that.
Yeah, and I'm in northeastern Alberta, and the Ukrainian people are the one of the largest populations here, and a lot of Canadians have descendants from Ukrainian heritage, and a lot of my patients are Ukrainian, and I this, even though I'm not personally connected, I feel like, I stand with you guys, and I hope everything, I just hope this violence disappears, soon. But, Iryna, what does it mean to you to be Ukrainian?
Like I was born in independent country. Ukraine gained independence in 1991, and I was born in 1992. To me, being Ukrainian, being independent, and I don't know why we always have to prove that. Why do we always have to fight for that freedom? So I would say being Ukrainian right now is being free.
Yeah, I think, you know, it, I don't quite understand that because I'm a Canadian and we've always been free. And it breaks my heart thinking that you, who's also a Canadian, doesn't share that same. Um, I have a hard time. Yeah, sorry. It must be really tough, and I'm sorry that you're going through this and that your family is going through this because my heart is with you. And I all I can do is spread the word, continue to spread the word, and give money, and that should be easy for everyone listening to this show to do. Give a couple bucks, do whatever you can, and you all can give more than a couple bucks. Let's be honest now. So, um, is thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your story, for being the face of the Ukrainian dentist crowd that would be listening to the show, and yeah, I pray we'll continue to pray every night for you and your family and all the Ukrainian people for their safety. Thank you for coming on the show, Iryna.
No, thank you for having me. I didn't mean to make you cry. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's tough because I don't understand how we can't be independent, and I just feel very fortunate, I guess, because I've never felt that way before, and I'm sorry that you're going through that.
Thank you. Yeah, all of the problems just disappears.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's the perspective that we all need. Um, Maybe our problems that we see day to day aren't really problems, and what your people are going through may be more of a the real issues at hand that are maybe the perspective that we always need to be thinking of, that people are fighting for their freedom right now, and yeah, Iryna, thank you so much.
No, thank you for having
Thank
me.
you.
That was
I,
a
yeah,
conversation.
I'm gonna post the links on the sites, or on this live video link, and hopefully we can get some more donations. So we'll talk to you soon, Iryna. My prayers are with you. Thank you so much for
Thank you
coming on
so
the show.
much.
We'll
Thank
see
you.
you later.
Slava Ukraini.
See you. Bye.
Bye.